two people who have also been following this case very closely: Jennifer Coffendorfer, a retired special agent with the FBI and News Nation's Law and Justice contributor, and also Caitlin Becker, who is a senior reporter for DailyMail.com. Thank you both so much for being with us. I mean, this is such a disturbing one. I want to start with you, Jennifer. How do you make sense of this, Jennifer? I don't I don't understand why the activist there, Quanell, would be lying, but I don't understand why police wouldn't be taking this more seriously.
Well, Brian, certainly there's a list of charges that they need to be looking at. There's fraud, possible false imprisonment, assault, incest possibly, and certainly false statements and making a false police report. That's just off the top of my head, Brian. And I'm certain that they are looking into this, probably because of all the media pressure at this point. But it is clear they dropped the ball early on.
Could they be, and I hate to even talk about this. I mean, it's gross to talk about, but it's part of the case, so I guess we have to. I mean, if he was technically an adult when he went missing, and we don't know if he has a diminished mental capacity or anything like that, but if he was 17, which is technically an adult in Texas when he went missing, and he's now 25, I believe, an adult found. If he was having this relationship with his mother, I mean, are police in a tricky situation? Could it not be a crime?
They're not in a tricky situation. Incest is illegal in Texas, but they're going to have to prove intercourse, not just fondling, touching, or kissing. So they'll have to get to the bottom of that, if it's even possible. Because if Rudy is not willing to testify against his mother, they're going to be up a wall in terms of beyond a reasonable doubt proving an incest charge.
Caitlin, what?
Oh, man.
That man heard everything that I heard.
Gone for 8 years, and let's listen right here on Live Now from Fox.
Absolute liars.
Oh, man.
That man heard everything that I heard.
These are blessed waters from my mom.
I'm standing here speaking the truth of what Rudy said to me. And I'm standing here fighting for that young man. We begged this right before he began to talk about him playing daddy at her request, and he got to be the husband. He has to be the husband, is what he said. He said, I don't want my mama to go to prison. I don't want my mama to go to jail. On yesterday, when the question was asked, was there a sexual relationship? The sergeant lied in his response. And then the next question was there a sexual relationship between the mother and the son? They refused to answer that question and said he's a victim and we protect all sexual assault victims. See, they know what I'm saying is the truth. Mm-hmm. That dirty, low-down damn cop was right there with me when Rudy said everything that he said. Mm-hmm. Just go back and look at the press conference. Why didn't you say, well, from what we know, there was no sexual relationship? You so freely saying that there was no sexual abuse reported. So what are you suggesting? Because he was of age, he gave consent? Is that what you're trying to suggest? Let me tell you something. Rudy is a victim. And for HPD to suggest on any level that that young boy may be involved in this scheme, that's wrong. That boy wasn't involved in no scheme. That woman a straight up monster. Amen. Telling you straight up. That's what that woman is. Woman sit there and told Grizzy and I both multiple lies. Multiple lies. And then get in the room with the detective and she starts singing a whole nother song. Rudy, help. Should have called. I say, man, call the paramedics. Take this kid to the hospital. Look at him. And she told a big lie when we first got there. And I hate to put you on the spot, Grizzy, but if it wasn't for Grizzy, I would have never got involved.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Let me say it again. If it wasn't for Grizzy, that mother never would have called me. But she called me thinking I was going to help cover up with the lies she would tell and defend her. Man, let me tell you something. Everyone should be praying for Rudy and should be outraged with how this is being handled. That woman should be under the jail. I'm telling you for a fact what this young man said to me. And I'm going to leave it at this. HPD, don't try me. Because I got it on record what he said to me. But for the sake of the victim, I'll respect that young man's dignity as my lawyers told me to. But if you try me with your lies again, I'll let everybody hear what that young man said. But I want to respect that young man's privacy because what he went through should be for him to expose to a therapist and not for me to share with the public. But I covered my bases. I'll take your questions.
Why do you think HPD is lying?
I think HPD is embarrassed that they encountered Rudy on several occasions and did not do their due diligence. When they came to this address, had they done just some basic fundamental research, they would have seen that a child went missing from this address just years before. When they encountered him on other occasions, they didn't do their due diligence. They let that boy keep going with his mother. When neighbors would call in, when family would call in and say, hey, look, we got this tip about Rudy, they never even followed through. And in fact, they have to tell the whole world now why when Rudy was found, you waited 8 days, 8 days to question him. In fact, they wasn't going to even question Rudy. Let me be clear about that. They had decided that they were not going to question Rudy after the mother told them he's nonverbal. The mother told me and the detectives right in front of Grizzy, oh, he's nonverbal, he can't talk. And so I pulled up a chair and I sat down next to him and he was holding his mother's leg and crouched all over. And she had covered him up with a blanket. And I said, little brother, can you look at me? And he raised his head up and he looked. He said, I know you. I say, you do? He said, I know you. You, Mr. X. I said, wow, little brother, you speaking now. Am I lying, Grizzy?
Nope.
Then I said, well, young man, can I shake your hand? He put his hand out. He's shaking like this, like a leaf blowing in the wind. And I shook that young man's hand. I said, can you sit up and talk to me? And he looked at his mama. Then she said, no, he gonna have a panic attack. No, he gonna have a breakdown. I said, I think he'll be okay. I said, young fella, you'll be okay? He said, so I helped him up. And we set him in a chair. Then his mama said, well, we need to leave because I think he's gonna have a panic attack. Then the detective said this, well, okay, call us when you think he's better. Call us when you think he's able to talk. And I said, well, wait a minute. I said, at first he was nonverbal, but he's talking right now. I said, give him a chance. The detective said, well, if it's okay with him. And I said, Rudy, would you mind talking to us? He said, yeah. He said, but I said, okay, just ask Grizzy. I said, okay, talk to the detective. I got up to walk out. Rudy grabbed my hand and said, no, I want him to stay. So for all of you people who putting it out there that I put myself into this case, his mama called me and Rudy demanded that I stay. And so I said, okay. I sat down next to him. And we asked the mother to leave. She didn't want to leave. We said, ma'am, it's important that you leave so we can see if he'll talk. He might open up. So she said, okay. She left. We started talking to him. She came back 3 minutes later, bamming on the door. We opened the door. She said, "Is neighbors, to be clear, in the last couple of days, she was offering neighbors money to break into the house and destroy evidence. So there was a break-in reported over here. Did y'all know that a few days ago? She was attempting to pay neighbors to break in to take certain things out of the house and get rid of it. Talk about that, brother. And say where you live and who you are.
My name is Adrian Boone. I'm a friend of Rudy's. I'm gonna start off with y'all questions first.
No, tell what happened about what she offered.
Okay, so she called me. This is all facts. She called me 2:30 in the morning. I don't be asleep. Ever since this happened, I'm worried because he come in my house, to my garage. She offered me $200 along with other friends. I'm not gonna mention them because they don't want to be brought up. Offered us $200 to go in that house and get some stuff for her while she at work. I thought to myself, why you offering me money to go in your house when you was just at home to break in there? If somebody's in the house or if a neighbors, anybody see I go in the house, I can either get shot or arrested. I never had a background in my life. Never did nothing wrong. So why would I start now? Especially for money. I have my own money. I wouldn't stoop that low.
Why do you think she wanted you to do that?
Come again?
Why do you think she did that?
I mean, what would you think? To hide evidence, have us do stuff for her, keep her hands clean?
And then remember, she's saying break in.
Well,
why would she tell somebody to break in our house?
That ain't all she said.
Wait a step back.
That is not all she said.
I know you heard it. It's okay. Go ahead. Say your name first.
My name is Keisha Ross. I'm the neighbor that discovered that he wasn't missing. She didn't just offer them to go into her house. She offered my cousin $200 to go in back of the house the day all the stuff went down and knock on the window. Dolph, I saw him. He used to carry a gun. So suppose my cousin know too much. So why would you call him the same time you call my son after you hang up with my son and ask him to go in back of the house to wake Rudy up? Because if he's armed, he can get shot too. Because you so-called told me, and it's on video, I'm the one that gave that video of her saying that the reason why she didn't want him to tell nobody who he was or discover who he was because the cartel was supposed to be after him. Then she's making accusation she left because we asked her for money. You offered money. You paid my cousin on Cash App $10 to walk around the corner and tell the neighbor that he don't know anything. You offered us money. You offered me money to say that I was lying, that I was talking to a so-called nephew. Ask your nephew, do he know me? Ask your nephew what's inside my house. Only person that can answer that question is Rudy, because that's who I always let in my house and let in my garage since I've been here. And I've been here since 2022. And I never knew he was missing.
Stay with crime if she's committed.
Okay. So, Dr. Candace Matthews, I'm the National Minister of Politics for the New Black Panther Nation. We've actually done some research in reference to the laws that has been actually broken by Miss Jenny back here, Rudy's mother. And we find it very interesting that the DA has not picked up any charges whatsoever, because when you're dealing with this type of situation, when you have someone that is actually then gave allegations that has gave pretty much whistle blew on what has happened to them, law enforcement is supposed to act, and none of that has happened. So what we have is aggravated kidnapping, which is section 2004 A person commits an offense if he intentionally or knowingly abducts another person with the intent to inflict bodily injury on him or violate or abuse him sexually or terrorize him or a third party. So by her having sexual intercourse with her son, then threatening her son, telling him, if you go and say anything, then I'm going to go to prison or you're going to go to jail, that falls under that law. And that's a felony. Next one, we have sexual assault, Texas Penal Code 22011. A person commits an offense if B, a sexual assault under section A1 is without the consent of the person or other persons if 3, the other person has not consent and the actor knows that other person is unconscious or physically unable to resist. Isn't that what happened with the drugs? Yes. Okay, I continue. Number 4, the actor knows that as a result of mental disease or deflict, the other person is at the time of the sexual assault incapable either of appraising the nature of the act or resisting of it. And then also part 6, the actor has intentionally impaired the person's power to appraise or control the other person's conduct by administering substance without the other person's knowledge. So we know clearly that was already reported to us through Rudy. Then, Ms. Jeannie, clearly we already know section 3708, false report to a peace officer, federal special investigator, law enforcement employee, correctional officer, or jailer. A person commits an offense if, with intent to deceive, he knowingly makes a false statement that the material to a criminal investigation and makes a statement to a peace officer, federal special investigator conducting the investigation. Then let's remember we talked about the GoFundMe that falls also under Texas Penal Code 3103, which falls under theft. A person commits an offense if unlawfully appropriates property with the intent to deprive the owner of property. B, appropriation of property is unlawful if the person is stolen and the actor appropriates the property knowing that it was stolen by another. And that comes out to be a Class A misdemeanor if the value of the property is stolen from $750 to $2,500. So that's a charge right there with the GoFundMe. Then we got another charge. It was also stated about the insurance fraud, correct? So if Rudy was missing for 4 years, then that funds go to the next of kin, which is the mother. So hiding him for 8 years, that falls under this insurance fraud. That falls under 3502, insurance fraud. A person commits an offense if, with intent to defraud or deceive and insure the person in support of claim for payment under the insurance policy. Also, part 1 of 3502 prepares or caused to be prepared a statement that A, the person knows contains false or misleading material information, and B, is presented to insure, or 2, present or causes to be presented to an insurer a statement that the person knows contains false or misleading material. So those are at least 5 charges that she can have right now. Why is she still in this house? Then let's talk about the police officers with HPD, because see, the question still remains with HPD and the DA's office. So if family is allegedly saying that they have people who she's friends with, well, if you're watching, let me let you know what charges you about to get when we flush you out. 1, official oppression, which is section 3903. A public servant acting under the color of his office or employment commits an offense if he, 1, intentionally subjects another to mistreatment or to arrest, detention, search, seizure, disposition, assessment, or lien that he knows that is unlawful, and 2, intentionally denies or impedes another in the exercise or enjoyment of any right, privilege, power, or immunity, knowing his conduct is unlawful. Also, intentionally subjects another to sexual harassment. Isn't that what Janie was doing to her son? Okay. And then also, last but not least, for the ones that's watching this, just know we're gonna flush you out. 3902, abuse of official capacity. A public servant commits an offense if the intent to obtain a benefit or with intent to harm or defraud another, he intentionally is knowingly one, violates a law relating to the public servant's or office or employment. So these are some serious charges that has been committed. So, Miss Janie, if you're watching, just know the hammer of accountability is coming your way. HPD and the DA, we know that you're running for office. Don't worry, the hammer is coming your way too. Let us don't have these charges on this ma'am that's in this house. You're going to have a whole problem.
Broader question. There's been a lot of things said, inaccurate, accusations of lies, second party, third party accusations. Why should we believe you that you are telling?
I'll answer. The family wants to answer also. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Pauline Sanchez Rodriguez. I'm the half sister of Janie Santana. I'm going to answer that to you. Okay. Number one, I'm going to get into a little detail. Okay. But first of all, is there's some things that can be answered, and there's some things that are not going to be let out until the right time. Okay. Right now, foremost important, Rudy's the victim. Okay. We got to accept his privacy and certain things that he does not want mentioned. Okay. We cannot call Mr. X a liar because that he's not. All right. Put it past a few years ago when my mom was alive. I don't mean to bring the subject. My mom rest in peace, and I keep saying that, but I told her I will bring this to an end. Okay. Meaning I'm the oldest of the sisters here in Houston. Okay. I didn't tell nobody. I got involved, and I continue to do this until we see her get the help that she needs. Okay. That's all I'm going to say, because she does need help. Janie Santana. Now, when my mom was alive, our mother was alive, she was under my care, under home health. Okay. I'm not going to mention the company I work for. She was under care. When I would not hear, or our mom would not answer the phone, I got concerned. That's time for me to do a welfare check. Okay. Because I work for an agency, and the mom is under the state, and I'm going to come and check. So I come like the state does without notice. Okay. When that door wasn't open right away, I started thinking. So not once, not twice, it happened numerous of times. Finally, the door would open after 20 minutes. I'll watch. I put a watch on time, okay, because I'm on work duties. So when they finally answered, I got to see our mom. I did a welfare check through the agency. First thing my mom would tell me, Rudy is here. Rudy is here. I said, Mom, are you sure Rudy's here? Rudy is here. He's back there. So I walked around freely. I didn't see Rudy. You know why? Because I gave them enough time, or Janie Santana enough time, to get him to the damn back door and go into the woods. Okay? And lots of times she always kept his bedroom door locked.
Locked. And nobody could go in there. Right. Because I even tried to open the door. She said, what you doing in there? I'm trying to check and see, make sure that this house is clean. Half of the damn time my mom was dirty. I hate to say that. Okay. Filthy. And burning herself because nobody was taking care of her. So tell me if I don't have a right to come in here and do a welfare check. I did. Okay. Then I would call my family. Okay. But every time my mom would say, he is here, Janie Santana would come out. She's hallucinating. She's on medication. She doesn't know what she's saying. Okay. So what are you supposed to do? I have to expect her privacy. It's her house, right? So I go about my way and I put my little notes in my system. Okay. At work. As long as I did my job, I'm okay. It kept on, it lingered on, and it lingered on. And I kept telling everybody, I says, Janie is hiding Rudy. And I have to believe what my mom would tell us. Okay. I had to believe that because moms don't lie. Okay. And what stupid ass mom, excuse my French, is going to do that to her own child?
As mad as you are, that's one thing that nobody should downgrade themselves. So this man right here, Mr. X, when I physically, and I'm not type that I don't give up. DA, HPD, everybody. I physically went yesterday because I'm not the one to give up. First, my son went in there to see him. He doesn't want to be on camera. Okay. He's one of my firstborn triplets. He got there. Then finally, he agreed, my nephew agreed to see me, thanks to Grizzy. Okay. Grizzy's the number one. If it hadn't been for her, we wouldn't have come this far. This far and have Mr. X here. The only thing, as soon as I hugged my nephew yesterday, we started in tears. And I know him already from him growing up. He went to a Catholic school. Am I right, Linda? He's not one to lie because they don't teach you that. And he was raised up by my grandma being through him since he was a baby. He wasn't raised to lie. When I contact him and I more or less told him what Janie Santana did to you, you're going to be okay. So he more or less knew what I meant. You know, we cried, we shed tears. It's like telling me, yes, absolutely. You know, when I said, when Cornell, did I say Cornell X talked to him? He said, is that going on? So he nodded his head. He wasn't going to say it out loud. So do you expect me to call this man a liar? Hell no. HPD and the DA better get their shit together. All right. I'm sorry to say these words, but I'm a type of person like my daughter here. I'm going to speak the way it is. All right. So anybody, for your answer, it has to be answered. He will, what do you say?
The best answer that you could have got, she just gave it to you.
Do you have a copy of his life insurance policy, and would you be able to release it?
I don't have it. I believe that the investigator has.
Once again, my name is Pauline Sanchez. I don't have no, it's like I said, I can tell when people are lying. I've been there. I've done that. Not what's happening here, of course, you know, but I left home at 12 years old for certain reasons from Janie's father abusing me. And it runs in the family because he sexually abused me. Okay. I shouldn't have said this out loud because it's been a long time. So it runs in the damn family. Her uncle, I'm not going to mention names. He tried to do that too. Okay. No, Freddie. Okay. I'm tired of this and this has to stop somewhere. Rudy needs help.
Pauline, ¿te puedo hacer una pregunta?
Okay, Rudy Farias' family, friends, and neighbors weren't the only people fooled. There were 4 private investigators who were recruited by the mom, Janie Santana, in 2015 to help find her son. She recruited investigators, a son, it appears, who was not missing the entire time, and she knew it. They were sent on a wild goose chase as far as Mexico. Ryan Grayson was one of those investigators. He joins me live now. Thank you for being here, Ryan. I've really been looking forward to talking to you all day because you've got all this interesting new information from the inside. First of all, tell me how you got involved with the case and this mom.
I was brought into the case by a few other investigators that were already working the Houston, Texas side. I was asked to do some tasks in Mexico, and that's how I was brought in.
So what led you to Mexico?
Well, Janie had said that a lady had called her from a number in Mexico, and she said that the lady was holding Rudy captive. So I do a lot of work in Mexico. I'm kind of known as the private investigator in the industry that does the work in Mexico. And so I contacted some friends of mine that were in the Policía Federal, the federal police in Mexico, and I had them trace the number to a landline, and then I had them do a welfare check at the residence. And of course, Rudy was not there. And then I contacted the lady myself, and she told me that she had already told Rudy's mother that she didn't want to be involved in the scam that Rudy's mother was trying to pull off.
So did you know in that moment that this was a scam? I mean, when did it start to unravel for you?
That at that moment, I knew that there was obviously that was a red flag. There was also other red flags I saw from different information that I got from other investigators.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find new
This guy, Rudy. This guy, Rudy Farias, would only interview with law enforcement with a local activist in Houston, a guy named Quanell X. Have you ever heard of this guy, Phil Waters? He's a local Houston. Do you know him?
Yeah.
No?
Oh, yeah. Quanell the 10th, yeah.
You know him? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We dealt with Quanell.
Sexually, that's a whole different ballgame. Scott Duffy, what do you make of this?
Boy, I'm still confused. So mother was the reporting party on missing.
Yes.
And so he should have just left and kept on going, but then he comes back.
And that's a great point. The
name is Ralph, but anyway.
Ralph. Out of respect to Quanell, I will refer to him as Quanell X. Bill Waters, I'll let you refer to him as Ralph. I don't want to get sued or get beat up.